Alright, what is going on, guys? Spiteful is back again, coming at you with my Epic Ultimate Awakened raid guide, and I do want to go over a few things beforehand. This is my current build. I am not 100% confident in not ever taking any damage, so I do run Kaizen build. However, I do not currently run the Hollow Bay Fortification Pill combo, which would honestly deal significantly more damage than just the Gold Yuki build. So without further ado, let's get into it. Shout out to Susanoo and Natsu. They're probably the only reason that we actually even cleared this run, because fortunately for the guide, this run is very long, and I have honestly waited a few days, because when we were running with I was running with Soifun, and we were clearing so fast that there was only one rotation of mechanics. I think we were clearing those runs in about a minute 45 to 2-minute runs. It was it was honestly quite ridiculous, and like most of the people had gold chappies, so with tag team Renjis and Soifuns, just boosts all across the board, just absolutely insane. Now, one thing to note, I will be pointing out when you can and probably should use your specials in order to not get your team killed. This particular moment is a perfect opportunity if you just want to lay one down. This boss, after 4 seconds, will immediately start casting Circular Claw. Circular Claw is an AoE that is a one-hit kill mechanic, as you can see here. Not crazy range on it, so as long as you just step out with one flash step, you should be more than fine. After Circular Claw ends, he goes into a forward beam. Now, whether or not it starts from the inside or the outside makes no difference besides where you stand. Me personally, I like to stand in this general area where I'm at right now, because whether or not it starts from the middle or the side, you are somewhat protected. Now, what I like to do is stand inside the middle of the yellow, one of the yellow beams. Once the beam explodes, that spot is completely 100% safe, and you are more than welcome to just flash step right into it, as you'll see here. Just easy flash step. This explodes. Now, this is safe. He immediately goes into a forward claw, so what I like to do is flash step immediately. Once I see the forward claw, I didn't do it here because I saw that it was not anywhere near me. But once you forward claw, once he starts his forward claw, should you flash step into the forward claw, you have more than enough time to flash step out. But the issue is, if you're like around this general area on the bottom right, and you don't immediately start flash stepping, there's a pretty good probability that you might end up getting clipped by this and then end up dying. Like, this is a one-hit kill mechanic, so my recommendation is, once this happens, like once he starts doing his forward claw, I almost always just flash step instinctively in order to just do my best to avoid it. Dead DPS is no DPS, just remember that. Okay, so after the forward claw, you can use your special here. There is a little bit of downtime before his tail swipe. Tail swipe is pretty much Circular Claw, except with very good range. As you can see here, 2 flash steps is more than enough to actually avoid it. I'll try to play it safe, so I flash stepped 1 extra time, which is honestly kind of bad, because right after the tail swipe triggers, he actually pushes back everything. So should you end up flash stepping twice around this here, and then you flash step even further, you could get pushed back and then knocked into these walls that pretty much trigger slow. As you can see here, after the tail swipe, he immediately goes into his forward claw once again. I immediately flash step in order to make sure that I don't get into it, or that I can avoid it should I be in it, and then I can start immediately wailing out. I flash step here because my character looked like she was moving forward, and I don't want her to get clipped by accident. There are some characters that when you use their nab, they will actually move into the damn AoE and then get yourself killed, and you don't want that. Alright, so just nail on the DPS. He goes straight into a Circular Claw, but this is not a repeat of the cycle. This is just simply it's the 3rd Circular Claw in the match. No, it's the 2nd. Yeah, it's the 2nd Circular Claw. This Circular Claw, however, is followed by forward beam, but instead of the stripes that we got prior, this one is actually checkered. This one, you simply, what I like to do personally is go towards the safe zone in the middle, as you can see here marked here, 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 and here. So literally all of those are safe zones. And what I like to do is get in the middle, and then as soon as it explodes, I immediately flash step diagonally more towards the boss, because the boss will always have a safe zone near him. As you can see here, I end up flash stepping perfectly into the safe zone. Now, this safe zone could be horizontal over here. It could be vertical over here or over here, but it is always next to the boss. So just keep that in mind. That way you can protect yourself, because these forward beams are actually... I mean, you have more than enough time to move, but it's just better safe than sorry. Alright, after the forward beam is completely done, feel free to sidestep out and just get out of the way because tail swipe is on its way. The tail swipe, you're pretty much safe as long as you're on the outside of it. You have quite a lot of leniency on the tail swipe. Like if you're like on the literal edge of the tail swipe, you probably won't die, or at least I don't seem to die, thank God. And after that tail swipe is literally the reset of the entire run. After that tail swipe, you pretty much go back to the beginning, and that is one full rotation of phase 1. So back to circular claw, into forward beam, stripes. This one starts from the inside, so I like to stand in the yellow. Once it explodes, go right back in, right? And after that, into forward claw, into a tail swipe after a few seconds, into forward claw. Now keep in mind, forward claw is one of those RNG mechanics. This is completely random in where he decides to face it. It can only be in one of 8 locations, and those are as follows: up, down, left, right, up, left, down, right. So those are the only places that they're gonna go. There's no like random like up, right, like over here. It's literally gonna be either that way, this, up, that. Okay, so yeah. Moving on, we're gonna go into phase 2. Save zone next to the boss. Tail swipe. And repeat. Alright, so here we push into phase 2. Now phase 2 is a very good place to actually use your specials. In my opinion, phase 2 doesn't necessarily have the most room for error, but actually it doesn't have the least room for error. Honestly, I think phase 3 you can mess up quite a little bit, but phase 2 is just honestly overall just annoying. So a lot of people like to use their special in the beginning. I personally don't like that. I personally like to wait for this mechanic. Now this mechanic is, I call it the red cross into out, and what I like to do is just stand right here, and if you're a little panicky, you can go all the way to the top right, but once the explosion comes out, you can go back into the bottom left, or you can go to the top right. This will explode over here in the middle, well, the middle-ish area of the AoE, and then it'll blow up on the outer edge. So if you decide to go towards the outer edge, you can wait for this to explode and then just come right back in. But I mean, if you learn the fight and whatnot, you can literally just come back in and immediately start the DPS on the boss. After this mechanic is when I personally like to do my special, because there is a good what is it called? There's a good spacing in terms of the next mechanic that comes out. So as you'll see here, literally nothing's happening for a while. I'm waiting for my special to be used. Oh, did I not use my special here? Oops. Give me 1 sec. Let's go over this. Okay, so after this mechanic comes what I call the forward beam purple, and the forward beam purple is very, very easy to avoid. You can literally just stand on this like little square. You'll get pushed back and go into a corner. Literally every single corner is safe during this mechanic, so wherever you go, you'll be fine. Just keep in mind that you want to be pushed back by the mechanic into the safe zone instead of you flash stepping into the safe zone. And the reason for that is because once this explodes, should you be standing here when the pushback goes off, you'll get slowed and then immediately get followed by this purple forward beam, which I like to call the out to in. So you go back in, you deal your DPS, and here's another place that you can use your special after this mechanic's already done, because everybody's already knowing to flash step in towards the boss. Alright, after this comes Dark Jack, which is probably kind of not necessarily the most annoying, but it's a lot more room for, there's a lot less room for error here. So the Dark Jack comes out, you'll get quote-unquote blinded. That being said, it literally works the same way as the forward beam stripe. So once you see the explosion, just flash that straight into the explosion. After the explosion comes a tail swipe, so you're going to want to get out of the way. And then you can flash step in right to the boss, and this is the end of phase 2 pretty much, and it'll just repeat over and over and over again. So you'll see the red cross will start to come in, you just flash step out, flash step in, and you can continue from there. Here, like I said, I like to use my special here and get out of this phase as much as possible. Like I can stand there, just go right back in. Yeah, pretty simple, honestly, in my opinion. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, like this just looks like it looks very, very chaotic, but it's really not. The dance is very, in my opinion, simple. There is a lot of movement, so if you need practice flash stepping, this is honestly where you're gonna get it. All right, so then comes the purple, but we push phase. Okay, so phase 3, a lot of people like to nuke right from the start. From phase 3, there's a very, very slow AoE that I personally messed up, or at least in my opinion. The first AoE crosses through the middle of the stage. The middle of the stage is no longer a safe zone. What you can do is flash step out, and then during this phase, I end up going to the bottom right. Instead, I should have went right back in towards the boss so that you could see that there's quite a little bit of safe room in this area. Now, from the middle, he will be doing AoEs to the left, right, up, down, diagonal. It doesn't really matter where he does it. Like, just as long as you're behind the boss, you won't take damage, which is good. After the first slow AoE, after the second AoE attacks, excuse me, he will move into a tail swipe. So feel free to just flash that out should you be in the middle. Okay, and then we just go right back into the boss. After the tail swipe comes the forward beam push, as I like to call it. And this is literally the same as the checkered, except you have to be positioned in the appropriate place. Now, the positions that I personally like to stand in are literally this general area. I stand here, you'll get pushed back to around here. If you want to stand literally in the yellow, more towards the topper area, you'll be safe. So as you can see here, completely safe, into forward beam, into forward claw. So from forward beam into forward claw, you saw that I just immediately started flash stepping. I flash step out, obviously, just to save my life. I never flash step towards the boss just because room for error is there's a lot less room for error for that. All right, so after this comes the Dark Claw forward beam mechanic, and the way to honestly distinguish where the safe zone is literally just exactly where he decides to drop his yellow cross. So we'll see the Dark Claw. I'll point it out right now. Okay, so Dark Jack, always try to be literally by the boss as Dark Jack comes out. Reason being is you get to see this AoE. Now this AoE of forward beam, it what is it called? It forms into a small cross. Well, it forms into a cross across the map. However, the safe zone is indicated by these two yellow lines. Wherever this lands is where the safe zone is. So as you can see, it landed literally on the bottom right of the boss. So the safe zone will be bottom right. So feel free to flash step out of the yellow. That being said, be very careful because he will tail swipe during this mechanic, which is different from the first one if I remember correctly. But you do have quite a lot of time. So what I like to do personally is if you want to be safe, if you don't think that you can make it, you can literally, like, say the safe zone is the bottom right. You could actually flash step all the way to the right and then just go down after the tail swipe. So like, fortunately, I was able to make it, but you'll see that the tail swipe comes out, tail swipe attacks, it kills, and then the forward beam actually has to take the time to load. So you have enough time to flash step out and then flash step down towards the safe zone over here or the top right. Now the safe zone is still only located on the corners of the map, so just keep that in mind as well. So like I said, if the cross lands on the bottom right, that's going to be the safe zone. Just flash step, make sure that you avoid the tail swipe, and that you get to the corner before the forward beam fully finishes. Forward beam has to load. As you can see here, you have more than enough time to actually flash step towards that, so yeah. Alright, so after this forward beam nuke, as I like to call it, because it is map wide except for that one safe zone. So you'll see that I mess up later on and die. And without further ado, here we go. So we start right back again at the slow cross over here. Safe zone into tail swipe. You can start beating on the boss again. After that comes the forward beam push. So like I said, I like to personally just like stand here. You have more than enough time to like get to the position. As you can see here, I actually almost get slowed there. So I was testing to see exactly how far I can push that, how far I can push the boundaries of that, because my stupid ass likes to actually test things out. After that comes his forward claw, which is complete RNG on where it faces. After that becomes the Dark Jack, and you'll see where I mess up personally I actually ended up panicking here, and did not stand next to the boss. Because I didn't stand next to the boss, I completely thought I thought that the save zone was going to be the top left, and you'll see that I end up killing myself because of it. So tail swipe, I end up flash stepping out towards what I thought was the save zone, but since I guessed wrong, the tail swipe comes out, and I no longer have the time to actually get to the save zone, which was actually on this side. Yeah, RIP. RIP. After that, it's literally just rinse and repeat until the end of the game. And honestly, like I said, this match isn't really... It's not too difficult. The only problem is that you really need either a team booster or a bonus character to actually carry the run. Don't get me wrong, team boosters are completely essential, and if you can run at least one booster with full strong attack recharge, it'll make the run so much easier. As you can see here, there's the forward beam nuke, there's the W, and that's pretty much the game. So I hope this broke it down relatively easily for you guys. Like I said, here is going to be the mechanics, or at least how I like to write them down. Personally, I understand that this might not make any sense to you guys, but if you can learn the fight, and if this is remotely helpful to any one of you, that's all I could ask for. As you can see here, we won 20 potions. We got 20 potions from that run. Yeah, this is exactly why I don't sleep. This is why I don't sleep, just because of this type of stuff. My Yamamoto might actually be nah. There's no way it's done. But I'm gonna leave it at that. I hope, like I said, I really hope this is somewhat helpful to you guys. I don't really know what else to say, but yeah, I mean, feel free to rewind the video to see the parts that you missed, see what you could possibly do better. If you have any comments on anything, any other recommendations that you could possibly give to other people, leave it in the comments below. Like I said, I do try to still read all my comments. I got like 17,500 comments last week, which was, needless to say, overwhelming. And I want to say that I at least read half of them. Yeah, I read about half. But, oh man. Yeah, but overall, I think that this Ultimate Awakened Replic Raid, in my opinion, is actually really fun. I thought that it was definitely a good addition to it. I just wish that K-Lab would stop being so stingy with those bonus characters and at least give us 15 to 20. That way more people are able to access this raid without having to try to pull characters that are never coming back. Like this Sun, I think she came back one time for like 4 or 5 days, and she's not coming back until next year. So like anybody that actually wants to pull her literally can't. The other person is Ginjo, who's currently in the step-ups, which is, in my opinion, nice, but it's Ginjo. Who the hell wants to actually use Ginjo except for, like, a little fangirl? Besides that, I mean, I guess I'll leave it at that. Y'all know this guy's grind. I'll catch you with him. Stay blessed. Like I said, I really hope this is able to help somebody. Shout out to Obilee and Nitro. They put out a epic raid guide a couple days ago, but I figure I might as well do one too. Maybe it can reach more people. I'd rather people actually get some form of recognition. I'll leave a link to Obilee's raid guide and Nitro's raid guide in the description, so maybe if someone wants to use that instead, maybe it's more helpful to them. But I'm gonna leave it at that. Y'all know this, guys. Grind on, catch him up, stay blessed. I wish y'all the best of luck in your summons, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.